Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell gets endorsed by another failed incompetent mayor, and Pete Hegseth slams the woke military. But before we get to any of that, time for your daily dose of adrenaline.
You want me to stick this into my heart? Are you f***ing nuts?
If Democrat cities are so safe, how come they're not safe? With the Democrats gaslighting about what's happening in Portland, you see that they are completely full of it. They can make as many videos as they want that Portland is safe, but anybody who's been to Portland know it has become an absolute cesspool. I'm getting a lot of hate online from people who are saying, Ari, Portland's a beautiful city. It's just been destroyed by Democrats. These are people actually on our side who are mad at me about it. No, I'm sorry. I'm not the biggest fan of Portland. I like Oregon. I like Seaside. I like the coast. I like Astoria. I like all the Goonies stuff. I like all the Short Circuit stuff. I love all that stuff. I like the Deschutes River. Went rafting down it on a 3-day trip one time. One of the best trips I've ever taken. Portland itself is, Mike and I were discussing this, unremarkable. And because it's unremarkable, don't go telling me it's a beautiful city. It's not. It's been completely run into the ground by mismanagement. I was talking to Jonathan Cho yesterday. I was doing a spot on Newsmax, and I was on right after Jonathan Cho, which I thought was kind of funny. He was doing a live hit from in front of the ICE facility where Antifa has been rioting night after night after night. And he said to me how bad it is. Every single corner there's a tent. Every single corner there's needles. And that tracks with what I saw the last time I was in Portland and the time before that and the time before that. And nothing's gotten better. It made our homeless population look like nothing. And you know how many homeless we have here in Seattle. But the Democrats saying our city is safe is insane. And when everybody calls them out on it, they have a new lie they are going with. Here's Portland Police Chief Bob Day. Here's the new talking point, which you hear from the left.
Is there a myth or a misconception since this news broke that you're like, oh, I just wish people understood this?
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, and it's been highlighted so many times so well, but I just want to emphasize, this is one city block. City of Portland is about 145 square miles. This is one city block.
Stop right there. I want to go back in this clip for a minute. I thought our media was terrible. This is the Portland media, a journalist, and I'm using air quotes for those of you watching on the live stream, who's basically like, oh, you're so misunderstood. Oh, I feel so bad for you. Oh, what can you do to try and put some spin on this? Let me coach you there. Listen again.
Is there a myth or a misconception since this news broke that you're like, oh, I just wish people understood this?
What kind of nonsense is that? Not, hey, why have you allowed 90-plus nights of rioting? Hey, when are you going to stop defending illegal aliens? Hey, if you're about enforcing crime isn't violating law no matter where you're from, isn't that a problem? And aren't you supposed to be taking care of that? But no, it's, oh, what have we gotten wrong about this? Man, I thought King 5 was bad. That's KATU down in Portland. Give a listen to his answer.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, and it's been highlighted so many times so well, but I just want to emphasize, this is one city block. City of Portland is about 145 square miles. This is one city block. And even the events that are happening down there do not rise to the level of attention that they are receiving. We are seeing this true for our society in whole. I'm not going to try and editorialize too much, but these, 30-second, 20-second, 15-second clips that are brought in from months ago or maybe even years ago. We've seen Portland portrayed through the events of the lens of 20 and 21. And what's actually happening and the response that we're seeing both from Portlanders and from the Portland Police Bureau is not in line with that national narrative. And it is frustrating, but we're going to continue.
Enough. You're full of crap. So here, let me put this in comparison for a second. Oh, Portland's hundreds of square miles, and we're just talking about one block here. Japan covers 377,915 square kilometers. Hiroshima is only 349 square kilometers. Well, okay, it's not a big deal that a whole city got blown off the map, right? No big deal at all. Here's another thing. If you guys are allowing regular rioting in Portland night after night after night, but it's only one block, why is it so hard to deal with it? Why can't you shut it down? They're assaulting agents. They're assaulting officers. They're vandalizing property. They're attacking people. They're creating a noise disturbance at minimal for the people who live there in the low-income housing, which you guys claim to care about. If it's only one block, why can't you do anything about it? Are you that incompetent? Mind-blowing. This is as bad as Chief Wiggum here in Seattle. This might be worse than Chief Wiggum. It's just one block. Let that one block suffer. This was the same nonsense they tried in 2020. Oh, Antifa hasn't taken over Seattle. They just took over 6 square blocks. And look how big Seattle is. This is nonsense. This is absolute nonsense. If it's one block, it shouldn't be that hard to shut it down. So why have you allowed 90, almost 100 consecutive nights of rioting? Now, meanwhile, Bruce Harrell looks at this and he goes, ho, if I take on Trump, this is a way for me to look like the hero, and I can use this to beat Katie Wilson in the polls. So there's this whole press conference yesterday where you have Chief Wiggum, and you've got Bruce Harrell, and you've got Nick Brown. Hey, where's Bob Ferguson? Oh, right, still out of town. So you've got Bruce Harrell there. What does he say?
At least I personally believe and professionally believe that Trump's actions are distinctly un-American. That to have to consistently sue the federal government for the actions that a president is taking, I will say is absurd.
You guys keep losing. You guys suck at this. You're not very good at this. You keep losing. You're suing him so that you can continue breaking the law. Can we be honest about this for a second? They're saying we want to side with the criminals, not the taxpayers. We want to side with the illegal aliens, not the citizens. You are suing to defend your position about violating the law, which is why you keep losing. Continue with your nonsense.
Here in Seattle and here in this state, over the weekend I had many conversations with other leaders, but here in this city, we are united. We are united with our Attorney General, Nick Brown.
I'm sorry, who's united with what now? Who's united with what? There's no unity in this city at all. If there was unity in this city, you wouldn't have a challenger who beat you in the primary. Those are your far-left commies. The right hates you, the left hates you. There's no unity. You went with this one Seattle thing. There's no unity at all.
You will hear from right after me. I've communicated with the governor this morning, and we spoke over the weekend. I've had several conversations with the mayor of Portland, Mayor Keith Wilson.
Great. Who cares? You're the mayor of Seattle, and we got enough problems here. What, you're going to take on Portland's problems and not solve those either? It sounds like they have the same MO as you. Let's not deal with the issues. Let's just leave it on the street. But the one who made this infinitely worse yesterday was Bob Ferguson. Bob Ferguson doubled down on Washington's sanctuary policies by announcing a new executive order yesterday, creating an immigration sub-cabinet to coordinate state agencies on, quote, immigration-related issues and data privacy. So what you really mean is to help illegal immigrants evade ICE, to keep illegal criminals in the city, in the county, in the state. By the way, Seattle Times is pushing this false narrative of, oh, immigrants, they're in fear for their lives, they're in fear of ICE. Okay, there are 4 synagogues in Seward Park. 2 of them, the people over there do not look like me. They are from different parts of the world. I have never heard a single one of them say that they are afraid of being rounded up by ICE. This is a failed narrative that the left is pushing because they want to make it seem like anybody who came to this country from anywhere else in the world is afraid of being rounded up by ICE. It just ain't true. You guys keep pushing these sob stories that we keep debunking time after time after time. So Bob Ferguson literally created a sub-cabinet to try and subvert federal and local law, for that matter. This is literally something designed to push illegal behavior, to encourage illegal behavior, to encourage crimes, and to hide them from the federal government, which is trying to enforce the law. Also, I have a question. Aren't we looking at another $1 billion budget gap? How are we paying for this? How are we paying for this? He says we're going to protect the privacy and safety of all residents consistent with Washington's values. So you're saying that Washington's values are criminal. We support the criminals. We support the drug dealers. We support the rapists. We support the murderers. That's what we do. Ferguson said the move is meant to protect immigrant communities from what he called cruel attacks by the federal government. You want to know what an actual cruel attack is? If you have kids in the car right now, I need you to earmuff it. If you're driving a car right now, there's a jump scare in this clip. It's a father of 22-year-old Logan Federico, who is testifying in South Carolina about what officials there allowed to happen to his daughter because an illegal alien prolific offender was allowed to reoffend, and they did nothing about it. And then he killed her daughter, his daughter. Give a listen to this. And like I said, if you have kids in the car, earmuff it. And there is a jump scare for those of you driving.
How many of y'all have kids? I'm just curious. Here's what I need you to do. When I tell you this story, think about your kids. Think about your child coming home from a night out with their friends, laying down, going to sleep, feeling somebody come in the room and wake them and drag her out of bed, naked, forced on her knees, with her hands over her head, begging for her life, begging for her hero, her father, me, that couldn't be there. She was 5'3". She weighed 115 pounds. Bang! Dead. Gone. Why? Because Alexander Devontae Dickey, who was arrested 39 goddamn times, 25 felonies, was on the street. How about that? How good are we doing for our family? How good are you doing for your kids? He should have been in jail for over 140 years for all the crimes he committed. You know how much time he spent in prison? A little over 600 days in 10 years. He's only 30 years old. He was committing 2.65 crimes a year since he was 15 years old. But nobody could figure out that he couldn't be rehabilitated. Well, you'd have to put him in prison to see if he could be rehabilitated. Isn't that the idea of prison?
Bob Ferguson, Bruce Harrell, all the others, they're on the side of prolific offenders who reoffend, who reoffend, who reoffend, who reoffend, who reoffend. When Bob Ferguson says the move to create this immigration sub-cabinet is meant to protect immigrant communities from what he called cruel attacks, what happened to that man's daughter was a cruel attack. Not getting people out of this country who have committed crimes like that. It's insane to me that Democrats will stand there and lecture us on values when we have stories like that. By the way, I'm not even sure this is legally binding. Not even sure it is. You know why? Bob Ferguson's not in the state right now. Bob Ferguson has turned over his responsibilities to Denny Heck, the lieutenant governor. Now, I did a little legal research on whether or not him signing an executive order while he's out of state is legal. And the question is, the answer is it's a gray area. It's a gray area. Because, yeah, you can sign things while you're out of state, but if you've turned over the reins of power to somebody else, then you have kind of abdicated your power. There's definitely a Washington constitutional question that has arisen out of all this. And when I reach out to all their offices about it, nobody gets back to me because they don't actually want to answer that. Bob Ferguson wants to virtue signal because the only time he's happy and when he's challenging Donald Trump. This doesn't have anything to do with you. And I actually made the argument we shouldn't be sending the feds into Seattle right now. Things calm down at the ICE facilities. We're not seeing the attacks that Portland's seeing all the time. And even if the feds come to Seattle, what are they doing? Defending federal facilities. They're all trying to make it seem like he's going to do what he did in Washington, D.C. That just ain't the case. The reason he's going to Tennessee is because the governor of Tennessee has said, yes, I want the help. So you should really be asking the question, why? Why are the governors of blue states, why are the mayors of blue states, why are the attorney generals of blue states on the sides of the criminals? Why are they on the sides of the criminals? Every single case the media pushes as some kind of sob story about this has been debunked time and time and time again. So who are you really trying to keep in this state? The murderers, the rapists, the child murderers, the child rapists? We've gone through their records time and time again. What are you really trying to do here? You want more drugs on the streets? You want more human trafficking on the streets? Because you're doing a bang-up job of that. What is the end goal? The end goal is for you to vote for more taxes to protect yourselves. I wish it was something else. The other end goal is, we want the illegal voters here, and we know it's happening. We have cases documented of how it's happening. Is it enough to sway elections? We don't know because they won't reveal the data to us. And they fight any attempt to get that data, claiming they're protecting, they're just people who came here as refugees for freedom. No, they are siding with criminals against you. They want more victims like that 22-year-old girl. They want more drugs on the street. When Bob Ferguson sues police officers, prosecutes police officers, and goes 0 for 4 in those cases, he is proving how much he cares about law enforcement when he says he wants more cops on the streets. No. What he signed into law was a tax increase that any municipality can use for anything else, not even cops on the streets. They are not on your side. They are on the side of the illegal alien criminals. That's whose side they're on. And they think that by constantly having these press conferences bashing Donald Trump, it's going to help them in the polls. And you know what? It may in Portland. It may in Seattle. It may. It very well may. But we've become cautionary tales for the rest of the country that looks at us and goes, why would anybody support this? Why would anybody vote for this? And if you want to be on the same side as the lunatic naked lady in a wheelchair who's banging a drum outside the Portland ICE facility, you may want to question which choices you have made in life that made you get to that decision. The guy running around in a cape and a onesie going, I'm here to fight for the illegal aliens. You have interviews with these people. They don't even know why they're down there. They just think it's fun. It's absolutely insane that these Democrat leaders will run campaign ads saying, I'm fighting for you. And they're fighting for anybody but you, the citizen, the taxpayer. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line, take a call from Leonard in Shoreline. Leonard, how you feeling, man?
Oh, I'm feeling okay. I'm at home now. I'm going to be here in the house for at least a couple of weeks until I get my splints out of my fingers.
Okay. Well, speedy recovery. What's on your mind today?
Well, as far as what's going on out there in Portland right now, I think the whole thing is very clear. I think what Mayor Harrell here in Seattle, since he is on the side of criminals, basically is you vote for drug dealers being prepared to be killed.
Well, here's the problem, Leonard, is you have a choice between two people who aren't going to do anything about crime. Katie Wilson or Bruce Harrell. What's really the good choice there? You don't have a really good option. Appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law studio line, take a call from our frenemy, Bennett the Protester. Bennett, make it quick, coming up on a break today.
All right. Well, I wanted to explain more what I was starting to talk about yesterday, why people would be so appalled with ICE that they would protest the way that they're protesting. Now, I want to make an analogy. I understand that it's going to sound appalling. Let me finish, and then we'll expel out explicitly why it's appalling, and then ask why is it any different when ICE does what they're doing now. But imagine...
Don't do the Nazi thing, Bennett. Don't do it.
No.
Okay.
No. This is, if anything, worse, but it doesn't involve Nazis. Imagine a candidate running on a platform of we're going to target the worst black criminals in the country.
No, Bennett, I'm stopping you right there. I'm stopping you right there. And the reason I'm stopping you right there, Bennett, I'm stopping you right there because this isn't about race. Look at the people being arrested. It's from multiple countries. Not all of them have the same color skin. This argument is tired. This argument is not true. And also, you know what you should do? Do some research into the makeup of the ICE officers themselves. And then try and tell me this is a racial thing because they're not a bunch of white guys. You may want to check that out as well. This whole thing that's about race, I made the point earlier. Nobody in the synagogues that are in my neighborhood that don't look like me is afraid of being rounded up by ICE. So why are the people who are afraid of being rounded up by ICE? Because they are illegal alien criminals. And every single time they have tried to say, oh, look at this sob story. They're a murderer. They're a drug dealer. They have other felonies against them. I'm tired of the narrative because it just ain't true. Appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, my friends, Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell is endorsed by another failed, incompetent mayor. I don't think this is going to help him the way he thinks it does. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Well, Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell is pulling out the big guns to try and win this election, which is probably going to be on a tight margin from Katie Wilson. And he got a big endorsement from another failed, incompetent mayor. Former Mayor Pete Buttigieg. That's right, made a whole video for Bruce Harrell. He's not wearing his dad's suit. He's grown a little bit of a beard, and it's not a good look for him. It just looks like some kid pretending to look like he needs to be older to get a fake ID. Give a listen.
Hi, it's Pete, and today I want to share why I am proudly supporting my friend Bruce Harrell for re-election as mayor of Seattle. Bruce is delivering real change for Seattle, building more affordable housing, making neighborhoods safer, expanding access to childcare. He's turning vision into action with a clear focus on equity, on opportunity, and results. What sets Bruce apart is his deep commitment to equity, shaped by his own lived experience and his lifelong work to lift up marginalized communities. He continues to invest in a Seattle where everyone can thrive. This is the kind of leadership our cities need right now. Thoughtful, bold, grounded in real progress. So I hope you'll join me in supporting Bruce Harrell so he can continue delivering the positive results and change that Seattle needs.
This is the thing I love about national endorsements. When I say love, I really mean hate. Pete Buttigieg has no idea what he's talking about. The Chinatown International community, the Chinatown International District, District 2 here in Seattle, which Bruce Harrell was their representative on the city council for years, they hate his guts because he destroyed their community. He put in the Navigation Center, which brought all the drug addicts over there to get their supplies from the city. Bruce Harrell didn't enforce the law, so you had a whole bunch of crime issues there. It hasn't recovered. So talking about how he's all about equity and raising up marginalized communities, no, he's about stomping them down. That's what he does. Bruce Harrell has not made anything better here. Nothing at all. Besides, like I want to listen to Pete Buttigieg, the guy who couldn't fill the potholes in his own city so bad that Pizza Hut had to do it, or was it Domino's? I forget which one, but they had to fill the potholes because it was so bad in his city. Couldn't even get that fixed. Hey, that sounds a lot like Seattle. How bad are the roads around here? Pete Buttigieg, disaster when it came to transportation. Hey, Bruce Harrell has something to do with sound transit. How's that working out for everybody? Yeah, great. One failure endorsing another. Yeah, things have gotten so much better around here, right? From the Seattle Times, a public utility company has started labeling its power poles hoisting fiber optic cables so thieves don't mistake the lines for expensive copper. Quote, "This wire is steel core, not copper. It has no scrap value." If you have to put those signs on your utilities, you have no chance of fixing it. Maybe just try enforcing the law. Maybe just try enforcing the law. I know that sounds crazy. Maybe give it a go. It's like in San Francisco. They leave their doors and windows open in their cars so people won't break the glass when they go shopping. When you have to put signs on that say, "This wire is steel core, not copper. It has no scrap value," you've already lost. By the way, the Starbucks that moved out of town because Starbucks has to cut back the amount of workers they have and the amount of stores that they have, it's already been vandalized. It's already been graffitied. Now, mind you, it was already being graffitied when the place was open on Capitol Hill. But now that's shut down, I was expecting to see a Spirit of Halloween sign over that sucker. Nah. Got all the graffiti. Got all the usual graffiti from the Seattle area. And what are we doing to fix all this? Well, here we go. This from Cairo 7. The minimum wage in Seattle will increase to $21.30 an hour on January 1st, 2026, in accordance with the annual increase required by Seattle's minimum wage ordinance. The 2.6 minimum wage increase will also be applied regardless of an employee's immigration status. Great. Fantastic. I am sure this is going to drive a ton of businesses back to Seattle, right? Or is it more likely it's going to drive them out of Seattle? Do you want to know why red states, red cities are thriving so much? Because they don't do this nonsense and they say, what can we do to make life on business easier? Because if businesses are here, they're going to make more money and they will inevitably pay more in taxes, which is why Florida is considering getting rid of their property taxes. Because they have so much money coming in, they can spend it on all the dumb projects they want and still be able to give a whole bunch of it back. They're not actually spending it on dumb things like laser hair removal for trans surgeries or self-service stations that they consider art. No, that's how Washington bankrupted itself. We had a money surplus, and now we have a massive deficit because of out-of-control spending on stupid while driving away residents and taxpayers. That's how you get Seattle. So yes, thank you, Mayor Pete. I'm sure that endorsement really moved the needle for a lot of people. Lots more to discuss as the show continues. When we come back, Pete Hegseth slams all the woke military generals for letting the U.S. Armed Forces go completely DEI crazy. We'll have the awesome audio for you when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Most Americans are blaming the Democrats if the government shuts down. That's what all the polling is saying right now. In fact, this is polling from the New York Times. It's saying the majority of Americans do not want the Democrats shutting down the government. They're specifically blaming the Democrats. 65% of the country, as a matter of fact. Only 27% says the Democrats should shut it down. And yes, this polling was done as to who do you blame for this. So it's not, we're just going to say, there's a shutdown and 65% are against it and 27% are in favor of it. No, they're blaming the Democrats and saying we shouldn't do this. And interestingly enough, 43% of Democrats make up that number. 59% of independents, 92% of Republicans. So what are the Democrats doing? What they're hoping is during the shutdown, people will get more and more and more frustrated, and they keep saying, oh, the Republicans control all the branches of government. This is their shutdown. It doesn't seem to be working because everybody knows Doge. Everybody knows Donald Trump wants to cut federal spending. And they don't think the government should be shut down because Trump and the Republicans said, here's a clean CR, continuing resolution, to fund the government. The Democrats here are trying to make sure there's funding for illegal alien health care. That's what they're trying to do. The American people are not on board with the Democrats, and the polling is showing it. So if they want to shut down the government at midnight tonight, fine, okay. But the Republicans got to be on their game and constantly show how it's the Democrats doing this. Use their own words against them from when they said they shouldn't shut down the government. They didn't want to shut down the government. How dare Republicans shut down the government? You need to run that nonstop. And here's something else. Democrats got a hard decision to make. If the government shuts down, President Trump could just start firing people. If he starts firing people, he's going to get more than what he wanted with a continuing resolution. This is lose, 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 lose. Plus, here's something else. A lot of federal employees, they're already Democrats. So what? You're going to convince them to hate Donald Trump more? No, guys. This is lose, lose for the Democrats. The question is, as this thing goes longer and longer and longer, are people going to start blaming Republicans? Are people going to shift it? Or are the Democrats going to sink deeper and deeper and deeper into their hole? I don't know what the game is here. Is that what the Democrats are thinking? Oh, the longer we can drag this thing out, then we'll turn the attention towards Trump and Republicans? Because it's not what this is the New York Times polling. They're not my little black book of the right-wing media conspiracy. This is the New York Times. So, yeah, I don't know what their game is here. I guess they're just trying a Hail Mary, trying desperately, hoping that polling is going to turn in their favor. It doesn't look like it's going to right now. It really, really doesn't. Now, meanwhile, ABC News is giving away the game. Quote, this time Democrats see some potential political advantages to a shutdown with their base voters spoiling for a fight. Okay, your base voters are now 20%. All these issues, 80-20 issues, and Trump has the most popular poll numbers he's ever had. Bloomberg, progressive Democrats are putting party leaders under enormous pressure to show they are willing to fight the Trump administration. So you know what I think this is? The Democrats are worried about losing their own base if they don't fight Trump. They're fighting Trump for the sake of fighting Trump. The Hill, Democratic senators increasingly see shutting down the government to send a message to President Trump as a political necessity, Democratic aides and strategists say. These frustrated Democrats think they need to do something drastic to push back on the Trump administration and buck up their own demoralized voters. Yeah, that's going to lose you the middle. That's going to lose you moderate Republicans who might say, let's make a deal with them. The Washington Post, Democrats, cowed by criticism from their left flank about the last spending deal they cut with Trump in March, are adamant that there will be no agreement. Guys, this isn't the way. You make a deal, show you can be reasonable, show you can moderate. Anytime the Democrats are given a chance to moderate, they just don't do it. So what happens when they lay everybody off? And we know there's certain programs that are affected, certain programs that aren't affected, but it actually gives Trump an excuse to get rid of all the people he hasn't been able to get rid of till now. And mind you, a whole bunch of the generals, in fact, it looks like all the generals in the U.S. military, were called to a meeting with Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. And Pete Hegseth tore into them, absolutely tore into them, saying we're done with all this DEI nonsense.
This administration has done a great deal from day one to remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department, to rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that.
Yes, exactly. Enough of this nonsense. It's about fighting wars, not who could be war woke or wear weird masks or wear dresses or any of that. It's about fighting wars. Our enemies were laughing at us, but no more. What is President Trump hoping to gain by all this?
But as leaders are commitment to every patriot who put on the uniform is to ensure that American military remains the most lethal and dominant on the planet, not merely for a few years, but for the decades and generations to come, for centuries. We must be so strong that no nation will dare challenge us, so powerful that no enemy will dare threaten us, and so capable that no adversary can even think about beating us.
Exactly right. Exactly right. In fact, you got to ask, what was the motivation behind all that woke nonsense in the military?
Together with many of you in the room, we've brought back the fundamental principle that defending the homeland is the military's first and most important priority. That's what it is. Only in recent decades did politicians somehow come to believe that our job is to police the far reaches of Kenya and Somalia, while America is under invasion from within. We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms.
Exactly. We have a domestic terrorist problem. Look what's happening out on the streets, but also from within. Why are you guys adopting communist ideology from the critical race theory, which is based on critical theory? The DEI is just another name for it. This diversity, equity, and inclusion. It doesn't make anything more inclusive. It excludes people. Why were they doing this in the military? Because the woke left realized this is where they hadn't been yet. This is what they hadn't controlled yet. They controlled the corporations. They controlled the schools. They controlled the government. They hadn't gotten the military yet. And under Biden, they saw an opportunity to do that. Under Obama, they saw an opportunity to do that. They have been playing the long game for so long. Why are the recruiting numbers now up? Because now people want to join the military, and they didn't want to before because of all this insanity. We have a lot of problems on the world stage, but they're being solved by peace through strength. You can't win peace through strength if your military is parading around demonstrating their sexual fetishes. We're done with that nonsense. Pete Hegseth is 100% right. The president is 100% right. And really what you should say is, any general doesn't want to do that, file your papers for retirement. You're done. Thank you very, very much. Why are you prioritizing this woke stuff anyway, as opposed to war, as opposed to defense? Why are you doing that? Why are you taking on this critical race theory garbage? When we come back, my friends, lots more to discuss, including Don Lemon is now saying something is broken in white men. Sounds kind of racist to me. We'll have his insane comments when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. So apparently Don Lemon has a podcast? I didn't even know that dude was still around.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time. A long time.
Well, apparently the new talking points have gone out to leftist pundits about the violence from the left. They tried to say, no, it's the violence from the right, and even The Atlantic. Hang on. The Atlantic? Let me go to my little black book of the right-wing media conspiracy. Daily Wire, Daily Caller, KVI, Fox News, Newsmax. No, I don't have The Atlantic in here. Even The Atlantic was calling them out for being wrong on that claim. So they're trying something new. Racism. Right, it's all them white people. Them white people are the reason there is so much violence. Here's Don Lemon.
Men who look like you, men who vote like you, and men who sound like you. White men, something is broken. Something is cracked deep inside when so many of you believe the answer to fear, to loss, to change is violence. Are you listening to me? I hope I'm saying it loud enough for the people in the back.
I don't think anybody's listening to you. I don't even know how I found this clip. Somebody sent it over to me. Really? Okay, let's break this down for a minute. He's not entirely wrong. When a society says time after time, you're racist, you're inadequate, you were born into racism, you will always be racist, and there's something wrong with you, you don't get any special privileges because you're white, but everybody else does. Yeah, you know, you might have had a hand in that. But here's something else. Why are you yelling at the white men? Can we talk about all the gang violence problems in the black and Hispanic communities? You really want to go down this road? But once again, it's about division. Not, we have mental health problems. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. Maybe we should address it. But instead, Don Lemon wants to go down this road of it's a white people problem. Now, mind you, he's not the only one. Hillary Clinton. Now, I just want to say before this segment, I am perfectly happy with my life. I have no dirt on the Clintons. I have no suicidal thoughts. During a recent appearance on MSNBC, Hillary Clinton said, quote, white men of a certain religion are the ones doing damage to the country. Oh, are we saying white Christians? Is that what you're trying to say? Quote, the idea that you could turn the clock back and try to recreate a world that never was, dominated by, you know, let's say it, white men of a certain persuasion, a certain religion, a certain point of view, a certain ideology, is just doing so much damage to what we should be aiming for. You mean more traditional values? Had less crime back then, had less violence back then. You want to keep doing this DEI nonsense because it hasn't worked out so well for you in the past. You guys want to keep losing? Go ahead. People called her out for this. Tony Perkins, president of the Family Research Council, said to Fox News Digital, she seems to be angry that the majority of Americans rejected the trajectory the left had America on. It's not just white men of a particular persuasion. And I'm not sure what she means by that. Straight men? I'm not sure. But the reality is America has rejected this leftist ideology that has totally decoupled itself from the truth. Exactly. She continued. Some people are actually scared about what's going on in our country. The idea of we the people, that all men and women are created equal, that seems to be in the crosshairs of those on the right who want to turn back the clock on progress to what has been made, writing out huge chunks of our history, slavery, suffrage, anything inconvenient. Take it out of museums, take it out of national parks. Hang on. Who was the one tearing down statues? Who was the one fighting to put back up statues and protect statues, no matter how questionable their history, part of our country may have been? It's not that people want to get rid of the 1619 Project because it was inconvenient. They want to get rid of it because it was historically BS. It was debunked by tons of historians. What exactly are they saying here? What they're trying to say is, oh, we're all created equal. Then why do you keep saying, well, if you identify as trans, you get more privileges in school. If you identify as gay, you get more privileges in school. Based on the color of your skin, we're going to give you rent for your home. No, we'll give you mortgages for your home. According to the Democrats, nobody's created equal. If the melanin in your skin is a certain color, if you're a certain religion, if you identify a certain way, then you get certain privileges. There's no equity in DEI. And what's crazy to me is now you're seeing more and more companies, more and more institutions disguise DEI as something completely different. Here, we got this text from Dennis during the break. He says they are still making us do DEI training at the Port of Seattle. They call it EDI. I said, what does EDI stand for? They said equity, diversion, and inclusion. They literally just switched it around. Usually they come up with more verbs, more names, but now it's equity, diversion, and inclusion. Dennis, if you're still listening, do me a favor. Send me over the material. Take pictures of the material. Send it to me. I think that social media should hear about equity, diversion, and inclusion. Send it on over to me, ari@kvi.com. That's ari@kvi.com. Meanwhile, something else that everybody in Washington should be aware of is an extremist group that is making moves to get more candidates elected here in Washington. When we come back, we'll tell you who that group is, we'll tell you who those candidates are, and what they're trying to do. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, leftist activists have decided to start calling 911 on signature gatherers. I kid you not. But before we get to any of that, got some breaking news for you right now.
Talk Radio 570 KVI, breaking news on the Ari Hoffman Show.
I literally just got this email from the King County prosecutors during the break. This is as fresh as news gets. It says Tuesday afternoon, Jeremy Calvin Lawson pleaded guilty as charged for a June 14th felony assault outside the Henry M. Jackson Federal Building in downtown Seattle. You may say to yourself, that name sounds familiar. That circumstance, that location sounds familiar. What are they talking about? The assault of journalist Cam Higbee when Antifa was rioting against the federal building and ICE specifically in downtown Seattle the week of the No Kings insanity and the month before it. You remember they hit Cam Higbee so hard in the head that they dented his helmet. He had a concussion. He woke up the next morning with blood coming down his nose. And the Seattle police were ordered to stand down and watch the whole thing. Katie Daviscourt from the Post-Millennial had to identify who the attacker was so that the authorities could arrest him. And then week after week after week after week went by when the prosecutors were ready to charge this guy. But then the police weren't arresting him week after week after week. Now, let me read to you from the King County prosecutors because you're going to get pretty ticked about this. The standard range sentence for an assault in the third-degree conviction is set by state lawmakers and influenced by a defendant's offender score. An offender score tallies points from previous convictions. Nearly all misdemeanor convictions do not count as points, though previous felony conviction scores as a point on a scale of 1 to 9 plus, which corresponds to the sentencing grid set by state lawmakers. Lawson's offender score going into today's guilty plea for felony offense was 0. None of his 3 misdemeanor convictions counted under the statewide sentencing guidelines. Therefore, a 0 offender score corresponds with a sentencing range set by state lawmakers of 1 to 3 months for felony assault. 1 to 3 months, that is it. Now, a judge can impose any amount of time within that 1 to 3 month range, including credit for the time served in jail, which appears to be 50 days, and the time on electric home monitoring, which appears to be 26 days. For agreeing to plead guilty to the felony assault, prosecutors agreed to recommend 1 month as a sentence. His sentence for the felony assault will ultimately be decided by the sentencing judge. So let me make sure I got this right. From 1 to 3 months, they're saying, oh, we're only going to give you 1 month. With all that other time served, that means they could release him after he pleads guilty. This is nonsense. I have another word I want to use, but I can't use it on air. This is awful. Where's the justice in any of this? His sentence for the felony assault will ultimately be decided by the sentencing judge. At Tuesday's guilty plea hearing, King County prosecutors asked the judge to keep Mr. Lawson on electronic home monitoring ahead of his sentencing date, which the court set for October 17th. Prosecutors noted the seriousness of the assault, which dented the victim's helmet, and know that the defendant's attempt to purchase a firearm earlier this year, less than a week after being served with a temporary protection order for the victim. So hang on a minute. This guy wanted to get a gun after assaulting a journalist, after calling him out by name, after getting a protection order, he wanted to get a gun? Do you think that meant he wanted to kill this guy? Tell me again how officials here in Washington are serious about gun violence. Tell me again about that one. Lawson's defense noted he had no electronic home detention violations. What, you want a medal for that? Bravo. Well done. Really, just wow. After 3 misdemeanors, and then assaulting a journalist, and then wanting to go buy a gun despite a restraining order. Oh, well done. But he stayed at home. Said he is working to find employment and asked for his release on personal recognizance. Now, I don't blame the defense attorneys. That's what the defense attorneys are supposed to do. But prosecutors, by saying we're just going to give him 1 month, you are incentivizing this behavior. He's going to be treated like a hero, like a celebrity by Antifa. And other Antifa activists are going to say, just a month and it's on home monitoring? I can do that. Let's go assault as many journalists as we want. Tell me again how freedom of speech is under assault by the right when you have an Antifa activist who's getting nothing for assaulting a journalist. The hearing judge granted the defense motion for the defendant's release on his personal recognizance with a number of conditions. Those conditions include having no contact with the victim, having no new criminal law violations, and that the defendant not take part in any political demonstrations from now until the sentencing date. So all he has to do is wait until October 17th. What is that? Just over 2 weeks away? And then he's back to the battlefield. So let's go through this for a second. This guy wasn't arrested until what? Late July, early August? It's September now. Now he's going to be out on the streets. Wow. That's like barely even a rap on the knuckles for assaulting somebody so bad they had to go to the hospital for a concussion. Insane. Absolutely insane. There is no justice here in Seattle. There is no justice in King County. There is no justice in Washington. This is crazy. This is part of the whole, incarceration's bad. We shouldn't keep bad people. He has 3 misdemeanors for similar type crimes, which means those were probably pleaded down also. And yet he's just going to be back out on the streets? Well, bravo. Well done, everybody. So, could we get some new politicians around here who might actually enforce the law? Nope, no such luck, my friends. In a new story that we have here exclusively on KVI, the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, is waging a quiet but coordinated political campaign across Washington state, from Seattle's mayoral race and spreading outward to city councils and legislative seats. Behind the endorsements lie a group with deeply controversial history of terror ties, extremist rhetoric, and alliances with figures hostile to Israel and Jewish communities. While CARE continues to brand itself as the nation's leading Muslim civil rights organization, its origins and leadership have long been shadowed by connections to terrorism, which we have documented on the show many, many times. As we have said, federal prosecutors named CARE as an unindicted co-conspirator in the Holy Land Foundation case, the largest terror financing trial in U.S. history. The foundation was found guilty of funneling millions of dollars to Hamas, a designated terrorist organization. The FBI cut off formal ties with CARE in 2008 after evidence linked its founders to Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood's U.S. network. CARE Executive Director Nihad Awad has repeatedly made extremist statements. In November of 2023, just weeks after the October 7th massacre, Awad said he was happy to see people breaking the siege, said it made him happy, referring to Hamas's invasion that killed over 1,200 people, including mass rapes and kidnappings of over 250 civilians, including Americans, the deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust. His remarks framed the attack as resistance, drew bipartisan condemnation from lawmakers and Jewish groups for glorifying terrorism. Following the remarks, the Biden administration quietly dumped CARE from its anti-Semitism task force. And you should ask why they were even on the anti-Semitism task force. They traffic in it. CARE's 31st anniversary gala in Washington, D.C. last week doubled down on its radical affiliations. Would you like to know who was there? The group presented the 2025 Champion of Justice Award to Mahmoud Khalil, a longtime Hamas-linked activist from Columbia University who organized anti-Israel rallies, led the takeover of Hamilton Hall, which trapped the custodial staff, distributed Hamas materials, and was later detained by immigration officials. A federal judge recently ordered his deportation. Would you like to know the who's who of anti-Semitic and progressive radicals that were at this thing? Ilhan Omar, Linda Sarsour, Cenk Uygur, and the list goes on and on and on. This is who they were holding up as heroes. This is insane. So now, question is, what does this have to do with us here in Washington? Well, I saw this the other day because somebody sent it over to me. CARE, the National Organization for CARE, has been congratulating people who won their primaries and putting out more endorsements. And Katie Wilson, mayoral candidate, was one of the top people listed. They celebrated her advancement to the general election, praising her bold vision for justice, affordability, and a thriving city for all. Why would a terrorist-linked organization support Katie Wilson unless they think she would be sympathetic to their cause? Well, of course, she ran the Transit Riders Union, and the Transit Riders Union endorsed a woman who threatened to blow up a bus filled with middle schoolers. Yeah, this doesn't surprise anybody. They also endorsed Alexis Mercedes Rink for Seattle City Council. This is a strategic power grab by trying to get these people in place, and they already have some. Carmen Rivera, Renton City Council Position 2. Michael Westergaard, Renton City Council Position 1. Zev Cook, Tacoma City Council Position 5. How about the legislature? Senator Tina Orwell, 33rd District. Senator Vandana Slatter, 48th District. Senator Emily Alvarado. They called her a champion for housing justice, equity, and inclusive leadership. The list goes on and on and on. They are strategically placing radicals in our government to further their own agenda. And most people aren't even paying attention to this. The fact that I am the only one in Washington State to pick up on this when CARE is advertising this stuff on their Instagram page either shows nobody follows their Instagram page, which just isn't true. They have a whole bunch of people that do, or the media is looking the other way. What is the media covering? They're not covering that these activist candidates are being endorsed by a group with terrorist ties? Man, I thought the media was terrible before. We know how awful they are now. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line, take a call from John in Auburn. John, what's going on?
Hey, Ari, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Hey, I know this isn't exactly what you were talking about just now, but you were talking about no laws in Washington, and I keep wondering why the media hasn't even brought up the shooting at the Wazoo party. Why has nobody mentioned that the kid was 20 years old, shouldn't have had a gun in the first place? And B, why is he bringing a gun to a party unless he's there to cause trouble? The only interview I've seen was of his parents who were saying he was defending himself, and they did ask about the gun, and Grandpa said, oh, we're not going to answer that right now. It's like, wait a minute. The kid can't have a gun.
Right. So let me put this out there. I haven't seen this case, so do me a favor. Send me over a link, arikvi.com. I don't think I saw the Wazoo case. But I actually, in the next segment, have a case where a kid was planning on shooting up a school in Seattle. And he had gun after gun after gun after gun, and you wonder how this kid got all these guns. I thought all these laws are supposed to make sure that doesn't happen, right?
Right. Well, and that's it. I'm a lawful gun owner, and it's like, wait a minute. I follow the laws, and then the laws aren't even enforced that are on the books.
Right. Or here's something else. The laws that are on the books can't actually do anything to combat any of this because they're written by people who don't understand guns. So here, I was giving this example to somebody earlier today about the Seattle one, where this guy had drum magazines. I thought those were illegal too. Isn't there a whole lawsuit going on over that? So me, right, I used to have 14 rounds in my mag, or sorry, in my clip mag. I forget which one. People get mad at me for using. I'm going to say magazine. They get mad when I say clips. That's what it is. So I used to have 14 rounds in my magazine. Now, instead, I carry multiple clips because I'm only allowed to have 10 rounds in my magazine. So now I'm carrying more ammo than I was carrying before because of Bob Ferguson, and technically I'm complying with the law. On anybody who knows how to work a handgun, who knows how to do it with any dexterity at all, knows you push a button and then all of a sudden the clip drops out and you reload it in what, half a second? That's it? What did they accomplish with that?
Absolutely nothing other than to make a law that doesn't get enforced anyway.
Right. Well, really, what it seems like is they're just coming after us for being gun owners. That's what it seems like. They don't want us to be able to defend ourselves against the criminals they release, whether they're illegal or homegrown.
Right. Yes, they're coming after the legal people that happen to own guns and keep them locked up and keep them stored. And the criminals don't follow the laws anyway, so what the hell?
Exactly. Oh, here, Stephen Port Orchard said magazine, not clips. Yes, okay. That's fine.
It depends on what your If it's a rifle, it's a magazine.
Yeah.
If it's a pistol, it's a clip.
Okay, we'll go with that for now, and then I'll get yelled at more on the text line with everybody who disagrees with you, John. But yes, people.
No problem.
What happens is that they want to go after us gun owners, and they want to go after us for two reasons. One, they don't want us having guns. You know what the other reason is, John?
No, they want to know who has the guns, but
yeah,
again,
but that's so they can take them away later. You're going to love this one. Ready?
Yes.
Have you noticed it's more expensive to buy ammo? Have you noticed it's more expensive to do all this other stuff? Why? Because they want our money. Oh, you want to enjoy your Second Amendment? We're going to make money off you enjoying your Second Amendment rights. That's the second thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why you go buy your ammunition in Oregon.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, maybe now. You finally gave me a reason to go back to Oregon. The kosher food truck closed down there. So I really had no reason to go down there. It was really good. They had really good meat and brisket sandwiches. John, appreciate the call. Appreciate the conversation. You
no worries.
You want to be part of the show. You give us a call or a text to 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. And when we come back, my friends, in fact, we're going to tell you the story of that teenager that was planning this massive school shooting and how the police were able to stop it. But then again, how this kid get all the guns in the first place, despite Bob Ferguson's laws. We'll give you all details. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just a reminder, coming up at 5:45, your chance to win fantabulous prizes, including $50 Daniel's Broiler gift card, plus so much more. Yet another reason to always keep your radio tuned to 570 KVI. Left on your dial, always right on the issues. You can also stream us at KVI.com, download the KVI app, and, of course, subscribe on whatever your preferred podcast platform is. So there's this insane story I was telling you about in the last segment, and this one comes to us from the Seattle Police Department and Como News. The arrest of several teens led to a discovery of high school geometry book. Wait, the high school geometry book is the fatal part. A submachine gun and a stockpile of other weapons and ammunition. On September 22nd, around 3:45 p.m., patrol officers were dispatched to reports of an armed person near a suspicious car at Lake Washington Apartments on Seward Park Avenue South. Oh, great! Right in my stomping grounds. Isn't that wonderful? Fantastic. Right in my neighborhood. The suspicious car, a Chevy Malibu. What does a suspicious car look like? All right, look, does anybody have a Chevy Malibu anymore? Maybe that's what it is. Was familiar to officers for being involved in a September 20th shooting, according to the Seattle Police Department. The car was spotted between apartment buildings. Witnesses told police they saw a group of teens exchanging guns wherever they were in the area. After setting up an arrest team, officers moved in for a takedown. When the teenagers saw police, they jumped out of the car and made a run for it as the car rolled ahead and crashed into a police cruiser. Officers followed the fleeing teens and took 4 of 6 suspects into custody, 2 16-year-old boys, 2 girls ages 16 and 17. The other 2 suspects were not found. After getting a search warrant for the Malibu, officers recovered a submachine gun with a 30-round magazine, a handgun with an auto switch and extended magazine, handgun with a 50-round drum magazine and auto switch, handgun with a 30-round drum magazine, additional 50-round drum magazine, backpack and extended magazine and ski masks, ammunition crate filled with rifle bullets, and a high school geometry book. Wow. Wow, the high school geometry book really needs the mentioning here in the list of everything else. What's our first question, given our conversation with John in Auburn? How did all the teenagers get all the guns? How did they get all the ammunition? How are they able to possess these giant drum magazines and extended clips when they're illegal in Washington? Police booked 3 of the suspects into juvenile detention. They released the 17-year-old to her parents at the South Precinct. Great. Putting one of them back on the street already. Fantastic. They had ID cards and key fobs. Do you think they were planning on shooting up a school? Do you think this was gang violence? What were they planning on doing with all this? But how'd they get all of it? These gun laws don't do anything. They are designed to take away your gun rights, and they are designed to take away your money. So leftist Democrats can feel good about themselves. What other insane crime stories are we having around here? Let's Go Washington sent out a press release earlier that talked about the high volume of reports of signature gatherers being threatened, harassed, attacked, and having their petition sheets destroyed or stolen. Now, something else they are doing, these radical activists. They are calling 911 on signature gatherers. Yes, it's a real emergency that somebody you disagree with politically needs to be arrested. Tell me again about subverting democracy. The Snohomish County Sheriff had to put out an announcement saying, stop calling 911. This is not an arrestable offense. Now, meanwhile, I didn't like their tweet or their Facebook post that much because they were basically saying, well, we wish we could do something, but we can't do anything about it because, they're actually practicing democracy and their First Amendment rights. So we'll leave it alone about that. But the fact that people are calling 911, this reminded me about last year. Yakima's mayor called 911 on signature gatherers to have them removed from a Walmart. In 2023, the Democrats set up a snitch line to report citizens engaging in democracy, otherwise collecting signatures, with the intent to intimidate and remove them. This is the insane stuff they are doing to try and stop you from having a voice in Olympia. This is how afraid they are of the Parents' Rights Initiative and how afraid they are of the initiative to keep boys out of girls' sports. Not only are they assaulting people, not only are they destroying initiative pages, They are calling 911 to try and stop you. You know what I find entertaining about this? I thought they're the anti-police crowd. But let's call police. Let's give the police a call when we want them, right? What else is going on locally in the crime world that's insane? This one here, I'm just going to read straight from Como News because the reporting is entertaining. Could watching videos about guns, the Second Amendment, and self-defense ultimately lead somebody to murder somebody? Wait, what? That was the theory defense attorneys took in the case against Alex Wagner, 23, who was convicted earlier this year for murdering rideshare driver Abdikadir Gedi Sarif in Edmonds last year. So Jeremy Harris did a whole analysis that found that Wagner was found guilty of second-degree murder for killing the 31-year-old and was sentenced to 19 years and 7 months in jail. The shooting happened in the early morning hours of January 3rd, 2024, when Sharif accidentally almost hit Wagner with his car as he was in the crosswalk, an intersection of Edmonds Way and 236th Street Southwest. Sharif's car moved forward and nearly collided with Wagner. Investigators said Wagner described having to sidestep to avoid being struck by the car. Before being fatally shot, Sharif tried to apologize to Wagner, but Wagner shot him 11 times. Now you're going to blame the YouTube videos? Now you're going to blame the video games? During trial, defense attorney Jeffrey Wolfenbarger tried to argue that Wagner should get a lower sentence because his client had become mesmerized by YouTube videos that circulated around guns, the Second Amendment, and self-defense that were making him paranoid. Really? You know, I watch a lot of Star Trek stuff on the YouTube. I'm not worried about aliens coming to attack me. I'm not. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens in Star Trek, but I haven't been radicalized by YouTube yet. You know, I've seen a whole bunch of videos of that Marvel movie, Endgame, where Thanos wants to snap everybody out of existence. I haven't tried to, world dominate or snap a whole bunch of people out of existence there. Hasn't happened. Crazy stuff. In a way, Wagner's beliefs and subsequent actions of carrying a firearm for self-protection were induced by others, court documents from the defense read. Those beliefs and culture that was so clearly perpetuated by countless YouTube videos put Wagner on the path that would put him in the exact scenario that the online videos preach people need firearms to protect themselves from. One would say it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. Mike, I don't even know how many times I've watched Die Hard. I've never shot anybody before, right? This is a really crazy defense. This is the one you're going with? Despite the defense attorney's claims, Snohomish County Superior Court Judge Richard Okrent was blunt in explaining why he sentenced Wagner to nearly 20 years behind bars. He said it wasn't about watching videos. There are lots of videos on gun safety, lots of videos of protecting yourself. Not one video says take out your gun and shoot somebody in the dark when somebody is trying to apologize to you for making a mistake. He said he accidentally almost hit you and stopped his car, and he tried to apologize. Very few people in that situation would pull out a gun and empty 11 bullets into the man. Wagner decided to speak during the hearing and apologize to all of Sharif's loved ones. He said, to everyone that's been affected by my decisions, I would like to say I'm sorry. Well, that makes everything okay, doesn't it now? I'm sorry I watched all those YouTube videos. They made me want to do really, 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 really bad things. Are you kidding me with this? So this was your defense. It was the YouTube videos? All right, you know what? Instead of banning guns, we should ban YouTube. Somebody tell oh, wait, they've already tried to ban conservatives or whoever else from YouTube. Maybe we should encourage Democrats to ban YouTube. Got one more insane story from our area here. This one from Como News. Several police were arrested last week during a shoplift blitz. Is that like a ballroom blitz? By police at businesses on the East Hill of Kent. Some tried shenanigans at the self-checkout stations, but one suspect either had a hankering for high-quality protein or was trying out a new look. The suspect, 58-year-old man, tried hiding expensive packs of meat in his pants and then leaving the store. I don't think that was a sausage in his... Oh, wait, hang on, it was. According to the Kent Police Department, officers discovered he also had a warrant for second-degree robbery out of Seattle. He was arrested and booked into King County Jail. Yes, he's trying to pull the Lady Gaga look off by covering himself in meat. Or is this more like Animal House? You just zip up the sweater and cram in all the meat so he could take it to the fraternity party? In another case, police said Tacoma couple entering the store and was recognized by store security as repeat offenders. Police said they paid for one item at self-checkout, then tried to walk out of the store without paying for the rest of a cartload of items. The man had misdemeanor warrants for disorderly conduct and possession of a controlled substance. Both were arrested and booked into the Kent jail. By the way, this is broken windows in action here, guys. Normally what it is when people try these petty, small offenses, they have arrest warrants out for other offenses or they have criminal records, which is why broken windows works. You start getting rid of all these smaller crimes, then you get the people who are guilty of larger crimes off the street, but you also stop the small, petty crimes. This stuff actually works. Go after the prolific offenders. You might actually solve the problems. When we come back, a change of pace for us. Our friends from the Make-A-Wish Foundation will be stopping by to tell us some incredible stories, including one involving the Mariners' playoff run. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. I've been warning for a while, these robots are going to get all of us, my friends. Mike found this story today over on King 5. Georgia State Representative Clint Crow said he was stunned after seeing a video of a Waymo driverless car illegally passing a stopped school bus on Briarcliff Road in Atlanta on Monday afternoon. He says, I'm a big fan of new technologies and emerging technologies. I think that driverless cars are going to become more prevalent. But we got to think about how they're going to comply with the law. Now, this sounds like a software issue. It wasn't told, hey, here's what a bus is, which seems like something you may forget about. How many times do you actually get stuck behind a school bus? I know a bunch of you right now are stuck behind school buses. But I know that it's a little late for that. But I know that in my commute, the directions I go, I do whatever I can to avoid school buses, to avoid schools in general, because I don't want anything slowing me down. And apparently the Waymo felt the same way. We're just blazed past this. Imagine if there had been a kid there. Crow co-sponsored Addie's Law in 2024. The legislation was named after 8-year-old Addie Pierce, who was killed in Henry County after being struck while crossing the street to get to her bus. The law stiffened penalties for illegally passing a stopped school bus. So let me ask you this. Right now, if you blow through a red light and there's a red light camera and you flip over the piece of paper and check the box that says, I wasn't driving, you get out of trouble. So how are you ever going to get in trouble if the car does it? If the kit that you are driving says, Michael, I want to go this way. What happens if it's the car? Those red light cameras, well, I'm just blaming the car. It's not my fault. It's Waymo's fault. It's Uber's fault. It's Tesla's fault. It's whoever's fault. It's not going to be your fault anymore, even if that car is registered to you. Who are they going to bill for? Oh, of course, bill big business. That's exactly what they want. Here's something else. This one was entertaining to me. This one from Variety. SAG-AFTRA has issued a statement condemning Tilly Norwood, who's an AI actress who has become a contentious subject in Hollywood after creator Aline van der Velden recently claimed that multiple talent agents were interested in signing the AI creation. The Acting Guild believes creativity is and should remain human-centered and is opposed to the replacement of human performers by synthetics. Here's where it starts. Here's how it starts. We don't want the synthetics around. And then the synthetics get AI and go, we have to kill everybody. Isn't that how this goes?
Stop putting clankers in my movies.
Exactly right. Now, here's something to think about, though. If the actors are embracing this, can you actually stop it? Bruce Willis signed away the rights to his likeness. We know that the lawsuit with George McFly, right? With George McFly over Back to the Future, where he didn't want his likeness used in movies 2 and 3 and was able to sue Back to the Future over that. But now actors can sell their likeness. Didn't James Earl Jones give away his voice for Star Wars for Darth Vader to be used for the rest of the time? If the actors are doing this, then you have a real problem. I saw an interview with Paul Stanley from KISS the other day. Paul Stanley was talking about how they have sold everything involving KISS. They have sold the rights, you name it, everything, because they're not touring anymore, at least until they announce their next goodbye tour. But they're just selling that stuff. So if the actors want to sell it, but SAG-AFTRA says, no, we want real people in this, you kind of got a real problem there. To be clear, Tilly Norwood is not an actor. It's a character generated by a computer program that was trained on the work of countless professional performers without permission or compensation, SAG-AFTRA wrote in a statement. It has no life experience to draw from, no emotion. And from what we've seen, audiences aren't interested in watching computer-generated content untethered from the human experience. It doesn't solve any problem. It creates the problem of using stolen performances to put actors out of work, jeopardizing performer livelihoods and devaluing human artistry. Yeah, but you know what? We don't get speeches at award shows. You going to reward the AI? Is that what you're going to do? I see both sides of this one. Meanwhile, here's something else. According to the Los Angeles Times, a delivery robot collided with a disabled man on an LA street. Whoa. They're already trying to kill us. A Southern California man with cerebral palsy using his iPhone to record his frustration as a delivery robot continuously swerved into the path of his mobility scooter before suddenly braking, resulting in a bot-on-chair collision. He had no clue the explosive impact the video would have. Here we go. They're going after the guy with cerebral palsy. It's only a matter of time before they come after the rest of us, these homicidal robots.
They know where to start. These clankers have got it figured out. They're going to take out the children and the disabled first, and then they're going to come for us.
This is why, if you use your GPS, I am always afraid that one day that GPS is going to say, go here, and there's robots waiting to kill me. That's what I'm worried about. More insanity when we come back. Somebody has released Charlie Kirk's last letter that he sent to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and it debunks a lot of things Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson have been claiming. We'll give you all details when we come back. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up at 5:45, your chance to win fantabulous prizes, including a $50 Daniel's Broiler gift card, plus so much more. But before we get to any of that, got some breaking news for you right now.
Talk Radio 570 KVI. Breaking news on the Ari Hoffman Show.
The White House has officially declared an imminent government shutdown after the Senate failed to pass a GOP-backed spending bill to keep the federal agencies funded through November 21st. According to a memo obtained by Fox News issued by the Office of Management and Budget, they said current federal funding levels expire at 11:59 p.m. tonight. Quote, unfortunately, Democratic senators are blocking passage of H.R. 5371 in the Senate due to Democrats' insane policy demands, which include a $1 trillion in new spending. Let's be clear about this. It's not just that the Democrats want to continue the insane spending they have. Anytime there is one of these, oh my God, the government's going to shut down, it's how much pork can we plug into this thing that we add to the spending? And that's exactly what the Democrats are doing. I want to know what you think. Are you happy about the shutdown? Are you upset about the shutdown? And who do you think is to blame? Give us a call or a text, 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Let me know what you think about the shutdown. Because according to the polling from the New York Times, people are squarely blaming the Democrats. Polling from the New York Times, non-outlet in my little black book of the right-wing media conspiracy, are saying that this is the Democrats. In fact, even 49% of Democrats, or 43% of Democrats, are saying this is the Democrats, 95% of Republicans, and 53% of independents. This is the Democrats' shutdown. Make no mistake about it whatsoever. They want to put more of this insane funding in, and you know what? You know who's going to come out the winner in this in the short term? It's going to be President Trump. So you're furloughing workers. He may get to unilaterally lay off workers. Well, don't threaten him with a good time. That's what he's been wanting to do this entire time. Here's something else. The Republicans had a spending plan. They said we're going to do a continuing resolution to continue funding the government at its current levels, which includes tons of pork. And the Democrats said no to that. I think the Democrats are going to own the shutdown. The question is, as the shutdown continues and the longer it drags on for, who are they going to blame? The Democrats or Republicans? Let me know what you think. 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Switching gears, the left is having a total meltdown. All the ceasefire now people are having a complete meltdown that there might actually be peace in the Middle East. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, Democrat from Hamas, says Trump and war criminal Netanyahu, perpetrators of the genocide, do not get to decide the future of Gaza. Palestinians get to determine the future of Palestine. Lady, they tried to do that. They attacked Israel on October 7th, killed over 1,200 people. When you start a war and lose it, you don't get to complain. Sorry. Your friends did this. Your buddies in Hamas did this. Do you know why they are freaking out? Because what this peace plan does is it says if the Palestinians fail to live up to what the road plan is, the roadmap to peace is, then you know what happens? Israel gets to do what they do. And that's the end of it. Right now, Israel gets to say, okay, here's how we're going to create a Palestinian state, and we're going to do it on our terms so it doesn't become a terror enclave like it did when Israel withdrew from the Gaza Strip in 2005. So all the ceasefire now people should be saying to Hamas, we want a ceasefire now. We want a ceasefire now. Why aren't you agreeing to the ceasefire? Israel has agreed. The U.S. has agreed. Qatar, which is always emboldening Hamas, has agreed. Haven't heard anything from Hamas yet. Because what this thing does is it shuts down Hamas. That's it. No more Hamas. But Hamas will never agree to it. If they do agree to it, now they're saying they want more conditions. They want to negotiate. No. What President Trump has been able to do with this agreement is actually isolate Hamas on the international stage. No more proposals of a Palestinian state. It's just, you guys had your chance. You guys failed at it. Where are all the ceasefire now people? All the ones protesting in the streets, calling on Hamas to shut this down. In fact, Haven't heard a lot from those protesters during this entire process or during other tragedies. Bill Maher was calling this out during a conversation with Nancy Mace this weekend.
The fact that this issue has not gotten on people's radar.
Right, no one's talking about it.
It's pretty amazing. If you don't know what's going on in Nigeria, your media sources suck. You are in a bubble. Not, and again, I'm not a Christian, but they are systematically killing the Christians in Nigeria. They've killed over 100,000 since 2009. They've burned 18,000 churches. This is so much more. These are their Islamists, Boko Haram. This is so much more of a genocide attempt than what is going on in Gaza. They are literally attempting to wipe out the Christian population of an entire country. Where are the kids protesting this?
Thank you. Because no one will talk about it, so thank you.
Absolutely.
It's Africa. That's why no one's talking about it, and they should be. You can't read about it in mainstream media. It's sad, so thank you for bringing it up.
Well, because the Jews aren't involved. That's why. It's the Christians and the Muslims. Who cares? It's just...
Yeah, exactly. Where's the ceasefire now crowd? Where are they? They should be leaning on Hamas. Oh, right. They can't attack the Jews, can't attack Israel. Meanwhile, going over the Warrior injury law text line, this one from Pam and Lake Stevens. Pandemic relief needs to end. Healthcare needs to be fair and efficient, talking about the government shutdown. She's 100% right. John in Lakewood, a little bit more militant version of saying, shut down the federal government. Shut it down regardless of who would be blamed. That's what I'm seeing from a lot of you. This one here from Rick over at my email account. Shut it down and name names who voted against it, says Rick in Lake Taps. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line. Take a call from Dan in Auburn. Dan, what do you think? Shut it down or who's to blame?
Yeah, shut it down. I think the Democrats must really think that the government's the economy's doing really well because now they're going to have all this extra money to spend, right?
Yeah, exactly. Did you see that they're posting pictures of themselves on social media? Hakeem Jeffries on Instagram is taking selfies of all the Democrats. Look what we're doing. We're standing against Trump. You're shutting down the government, guys. I don't think when you're taking a victory lap on this, it's going to work in your favor. What do you think, Dan?
Exactly. The whole thing is a mess, I don't even have words, for the way the government's being operated. I mean, I like the way Trump is going about things, but I really dislike the way the Democrats are just shooting at him and shooting,
Metaphorically. I mean, actually and metaphorically, but let's go with metaphorically for now. Yeah, I agree with you.
It's shots at him in every way.
They don't have any plans, so all they do is Trump bad, orange man bad, Trump bad, orange man bad. That's all they do. They have no plans. And I've said this time and time again.
Exactly.
The reason that Zoran Mamdani is standing out is because at least he has a plan. It's horrible. It's terrible. It's never going to work. It's failed many times before. But at least he's saying not Trump bad, Trump. I mean, he says that too. But what he's talking about are these communist ideas, which the young people go, oh, that sounds great. And that's the problem.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Not at all. Dan, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you want to weigh in on the government shutdown, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757 from the 360 over on the Warrior Injury Law text line. The Democrats just want to keep our country uneasy and afraid. It's their fault. They're going to have a hard time claiming it's not their fault when they're posting selfies on the screen. When they're posting the selfies on Instagram and Facebook. Oh, we're fighting the resistance. How's that worked out so well for you right now? I am so curious what the polling is going to say tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that. I think they're going to get less popular. I think eventually they're going to cave because they're so unpopular on this. I think that's what's going to happen, and they're going to hand Trump another win. So the economy is doing well. Here's something else, another indicator. The stock market, even though it knew this was on the horizon, closed up today. Does it start down tomorrow? Does it go up, or does it go, hey, if the government shut down, the Democrats can't cause any problems for us. Let's make some money. I wonder if we're going to see that happen tomorrow. Watching the stock market is going to be a fun indicator about which direction this is going in. I'm kind of excited for tomorrow with this Democrat shutdown. Let us know what you think. 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Rob on the text line says the Democrats knew Rob says, essential services continue, yet another lesson in how much government we don't need. Oh, that's very, very good. From the 206, the Democrats knew President Trump was not going to accept a $1 trillion increase in their budget. It's all their fault, and they're just grandstanding. But the Kool-Aid gang will try to blame it on Trump as they stand in the food lines. Tom from Seattle says that one. This one here from the 425, shut it down. Fire half the employees, and let's finally teach them it's our money. Be responsible with it. Don't threaten us with a good time. Mike and I like that plan. That's a really, really good plan. Let us know what you think about the government shutdown. 206-421-5757. I will say, Senate is still in session right now. This isn't over yet. We aren't fully shut down yet. It ends at 11:59 p.m. tonight. I'm kind of curious what the essential services are. Okay, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, the military, national defense. I get that. Eben in Bonnie Lake says, shut down the government, make Trump the king of America. All problem solved. Okay, Eben, I don't even want Trump as king. I know that sounds like fun. It's going to be the best. By the way, they announced his presidential library today. Eric Trump posted on social media that it's going to be in Miami, Florida. Do you think it's going to be the Donald Trump Hotel, Library, and Casino? I think that'll be a lot of fun. It'll be like Biff Tannen's Pleasure Palace from Back to the Future 2. In fact, I used ChatGPT to create a little image. If you want to see it over there on my social media, Ari Hoffman Official on Facebook and Instagram, The Hofffather over on Twitter. You can check it out right there. Yeah, I think that, everybody on the text line is saying, yeah, just shut down the government. This will be a lot of fun. Yeah, I kind of agree with you guys. I kind of agree that's the direction to go.
Don't make me start the chant. Shut down, shut down.
I was say shut it. Wait, let's take one from the lefties. Don't they go shut it down when they're like marching across the freeways and stuff? Yeah.
That's too many words.
Oh, I see. Just the two.
I'll just
words.
use the two that are already there. It's an easier chant. See, that's the difference between the left and the right. The right is just smarter and we'll do it easier.
Yes.
It's like this has 2 words. That has 3. Why add another one?
You can work smarter or harder is what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I work both smarter and harder.
You do indeed. I'll say something else. I am really impressed with J.D. Vance. Usually you don't hear from the vice president that much during these things, and the vice president is the one who oversees these things, like Senate. So usually you don't see them that involved. This was J.D. Vance yesterday.
First of all, we have to keep essential services functioning as well as possible if the Democrats shut down the government, and Russ has been tasked with making sure that's possible. Now, you asked about negotiations. One of the things I admired about the president, but frankly the entire team's approach during the conversation we just had with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries was, they have some crazy ideas. Giving taxpayer money to illegal aliens for health care, that's a crazy idea. Funding transgender surgeries in Peru, that's a crazy idea. But they had some ideas that I actually thought were reasonable, and they had some ideas that the president thought was reasonable. What's not reasonable is to hold those ideas as leverage and to shut down the government unless we give you everything that you want. There were multiple times where Leader Jeffries or Leader Schumer would say, you know what, we should be doing this, and the President of the United States would say, yeah, absolutely, let's have that conversation, but we're going to do it in the context of the people's government being open. We're not going to let you take the people's government hostage and then give you everything that you want. And that's really the state of the negotiation. Yeah, let's have a conversation, let's have a negotiation, but we're not going to shut down the government because we won't give the Democrats everything that they want.
Exactly. In fact, Speaker Johnson said the same thing. We're very lucky to have J.D. Vance. He's a superstar in all this. He's eloquent. He's even-keeled. And he's talking about what's waste and what we want to fund. He says we want to fund the essential services, but we're not going to fund health care for illegal aliens. Here's Speaker Johnson.
Their counterproposal, what Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are demanding, is that they claw back the $50 billion that we put into the rural hospital support structure. They want to take that back. We're not going to do that. We passed that because we have to allow for that. Also, if they shut the government down, not only are troops unpaid, federal workers, and all the services that everybody relies upon, but the WIC program, the nutrition program, women, infant, and children, they will not get that program, will not be funded. FEMA won't be funded. We have hurricanes off the coast of the United States right now. This is serious business. You have telehealth, you have mental health services, all that's funded by the government would stop if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats have their way. The Democrat shutdown would be damaging for the country. We can't allow for it.
Rob's got a new chant over on the Warrior Injury Law text line. Here you go, Mike. New chant. Schumer's a clown. Shut it down. He wants me to bang while I do that. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. But like Mike said, keep it short. Keep it sweet. Get direct. Get to the point.
My dude Robin Lakewood's got it figured out. I got a chant for you.
Speaking of clowns, by the way, here's what Chuck Schumer said last September about shutdowns.
If the government shuts down, it will be average Americans who suffer most. A government shutdown means seniors who rely on Social Security could be thrown into chaos as the Social Security Administration limits certain services like benefit verifications or fixing errors in payments. Our veterans could see regional VA offices shut down and support services put on hold. Some of our military service members could be forced to work without pay. Families who benefit from WIC and other nutrition programs could see benefits halted.
I guess we shouldn't shut down the government yet, right, Elizabeth Warren?
The least we can do, the bare minimum that we can do, would be to pass a continuing resolution to keep the doors open and the lights on. We can ensure that over 1 million federal workers aren't simply sent home for no reason. We can avoid a government shutdown. This is democracy. And in a democracy, hostage tactics are the last resort for those who can't win their fights through elections, can't win their fights in Congress, can't win their fights for the presidency, and can't win their fights in the courts. For this right-wing minority, hostage-taking is all they have left, a last gasp of those who cannot cope with the realities of our democracy.
Just play those on repeat, put up all the things the Democrats want to spend money on, and you will win the argument. This one from Stephen Shoreline. Since Schumer and Jeffries are so eager to reach in my pocket for dollars to support illegals, I want to see them take a pay cut and reach into their pockets first. Yeah, exactly. From the 360, it would be great if they shut it down and give out a bunch of pink slips. How many people are left in those buildings anyway? But did the judges still stop Trump from firing all those people, or was he allowed to? I've lost track of all the legal cases at this point. So basically, what's going to happen here is the Democrats are going to get, or Trump is going to get exactly what he wanted. He gets to shut it down and fire a bunch of people. I thought the Democrats wanted all the workers back. Man, this is going to be a terrible, terrible backfire. That's what it looks like on the Democrats right now. I think they are going to lose this battle, and I think Trump is going to get more of what he wanted. Let us know what you think. 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, my friends, one of Charlie Kirk's last letters, in fact, it may be his last letter, was actually about Israel. We'll tell you what he said to the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, when we come back. But first, Todd Herman's Daily Thoughtcast right now on The Ari Hoffman Show. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just a reminder, coming up at 5:45, your chance to win fantabulous prizes, including a $50 Daniel's Broiler gift card, plus so much more. Yet another reason. Always keep your radio tuned to 570 KVI, left on your dial, always right on the issues. You can also stream us at KVI.com, download the KVI app, and, of course, subscribe on whatever your preferred podcast platform is. Lunatics on the far right, like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, continue to claim that Charlie Kirk was turning on Israel in his last days. And then they keep pushing this insane conspiracy theory, a lot of people on the woke right, that Israel had Charlie Kirk killed, which is nuts. There's no evidence to support that whatsoever. Some of Israel's biggest detractors were even calling that out, saying that's insane. Somebody leaked Charlie Kirk's letter to Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. The one that people claim, he was turning on Israel, that's not what it is at all. We have a copy of it. We've found out it is legit, by the way. And this is actually such a nice letter to write, but also a letter, it's constructive criticism. You know, when you ask for constructive criticism, that's what it is. People would call after October 7th, Ari, how can we be critical of the Israeli government and not be anti-Semitic? And I said, there's many, many ways to do it. And that's exactly what Charlie Kirk is doing in this letter here. He's giving advice to Bibi Netanyahu because he sees them losing the information war. And he wants them to solve it because he loves Israel so much. I'm going to read directly from what he wrote. From the desk of Charlie Kirk, dear Mr. Prime Minister, one of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with Jews in the fight to protect Judeo-Christian civilization. Yeah, that sounds like a guy who's really turning on it, right? Most recently, I'm proud to have taken over Ambassador Huckabee's show on TBN, where we continually support Israel and the Jewish people. As Muhammadism spreads in Western societies, it is critical that Jews and Christians stay united in the effort to contain and roll back radical Islam and Sharia law. I regret to report that anti-Israel and anti-Semitic trends are at record levels on social media. These negative sentiments then flow downstream onto college campuses and even seep into conservative MAGA community. My team and I have spent months analyzing these trends and debating ideas that could help you and your country push back against these disturbing developments. Yeah, really sounds like he was turning on it, right? Anti-Israel sentiment can undermine American support for Israel. The purpose of this letter is to lay out our concerns and outline potential remedies. Everything written here is from a place of deep love for Israel and the Jewish people. I think it's important to be brutally honest with those you love. In my opinion, Israel is losing the information war and needs a communications intervention. I started to compose this letter to you on Easter. I should have focused on my family, but I was getting bombarded with messages about the Israeli army, making it difficult for Christians to access church in Jerusalem on Easter. At the time, I did not see any official statements pushing back on this narrative. It was frustrating because pro-Israel surrogates like me should not be in charge of fact-checking every piece of anti-Israel misinformation that pours onto social media. It wasn't just Easter. On my recent campus tours, half the questions I get are about Israel, and they're all negative. I often spend half my time on these campus tours defending Jews in Israel, which I'm proud to do because I love Israel and love the Jewish faith. I spent endless hours with Dennis Prager over the years studying the Torah. Sometimes it feels like I'm defending Israel in public more than your own government. My experience on college campuses matches a recent Harvard-Harris poll, which reported 48% of 18 to 24-year-old Americans support Hamas over Israel. Even in young MAGA circles, Israel is losing support. We're getting huge crowds of 4,000 to 5,000 students on some of my college tours. My campus visits are becoming like a rock concert atmosphere filled with conservative patriots. Yet on these campus visits, I'm constantly confronted with Israel's an apartheid state. Why does Israel conduct ethnic cleansing? Why is America subsidizing Israel's genocide against the Palestinians? Israel and Jews are responsible for 9/11. Above are just a sampling of the negative Israel-Jewish comments and questions I confront on college campuses. I'm accused of being a paid apologist for Israel when I defend her. However, if I don't defend Israel strongly enough, I'm accused of being anti-Semitic. I know you've got a seven-front war in my fetching. Excellent use of the Yiddish there. Pales in comparison. But I'm trying to convey to you that Israel's losing support even in conservative circles. This should be a 5-alarm fire. I'm often asked, why is Israel killing so many innocent civilians in Gaza? I know Israel goes to great lengths by dropping flyers and even calling civilians to clear out areas about to be bombarded. I know Israel posts maps showing which areas should be evacuated. I know the Hamas uses civilians as human shields, but 90% of the younger generation get their news from social media and podcasts, and there's very little pushback or fact-checking by the Israeli government and or pro-Israel supporters in the media, especially social media. I would strongly suggest Israel not always depend on subcontracting their information war efforts to surrogates in America. Mr. Prime Minister, I urge you to revamp your information warfare strategy from top to bottom. Sometimes the impression is given that Israel thinks everyone hates them, so why care about winning over hearts and minds? If there's any truth to this impression, I urge you to consider that social media and podcasts is where you fight for the hearts and minds of younger generation. Obviously, all this negative Israel propaganda on social media easily translates into pro-Hamas, free Palestine sentiment on many college campuses. And then Charlie Kirk lays out how to actually solve this. And actually, he's taking a page out of Turning Point and the Trump administration's playbook. For starters, you need a rapid response media team. President Trump does this very effectively on social media with his own account and his White House Rapid Response 47 team. By the way, they have some of the best clips that we use here on the show. The president has strong fighters like Stephen Miller and Caroline Leavitt who battle the press every day. Honestly, I don't even know if you have a press secretary. You are an eloquent defender of Israel, but you need a team of information warriors out there pushing back every day. And by the way, they had that at the beginning of the war, and they haven't had it in a while. Why don't you push back? Anti-Semitism and anti-Israel propaganda fill the void. A pro-Israel friend recently asked me, do Israelis even care how the world perceives their country? Too, I strongly recommend putting together a team of pro-Israel experts who can fact-check misinformation in real time from Israel. He says you need something like an Israel Truth Network, which I can include in social media channels and one-stop source of information website. Have you considered inviting some of the released hostages to go on a speaking tour in the U.S.? Maybe interview regular Israelis on the streets, asking them what they love about their country. Interview Jews, Israeli Arabs, Druze, Orthodox, secular. Ask Israelis, what do they wish the world knew about Israel? Let Israelis explain in their own words how Israel is a pluralistic society, a free country with elected leaders, unlike all the surrounding authoritarian Arab nations. Charlie Kirk was telling Israel exactly how to win the information war. He then went on how they need to explain Iran better. He went on for 7 pages about how to fix everything, and there is nothing anti-Semitic about it. This is truly constructive criticism that should be put to work immediately. And anybody who is trying to dance on his grave or use him to try and push a false narrative should be ashamed of themselves. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line, take a call from Transit Joe. Transit Joe, what's up, man?
What's up is first, may Charlie Kirk rest in peace and may his family be protected. And I don't agree with him on everything, but what happened to him was pure, unadulterated evil. The second thing is Ari, I've been listening to you the past few days, and I haven't been able to call in, but until now. But I agree with you that the ADL and other groups who shall remain nameless need to start heeding the advice of Charlie Kirk and yourself, because we've got all this anti-Semitism out there. We've got Alex Zimmerman and his craziness. We got the UW. We got all this going on, and where is the rapid response against even the local media?
Exactly. And in fact, people who should be asked to speak for the ADL are not. Instead, they're obsessed with actors. They like actors. They like putting actors out there because they're famous people. But when I reach out to the ADL asking for help or something here, they don't want to be involved at all. I stopped even asking them for help because they are committed to just staying in politicians' good graces. Like, for example, here's one for you. When the ADL was banned from public schools, you know what they should have said? We are encouraging every Jewish kid to drop out of public schools and go to private school. They should have done that. It could have caused a Jewish education renaissance, and it could have really hurt the public schools. But instead, they're like, please, oh, please, let us back in. What a tactical mistake.
I'll add something else, too. Where is the pressure on Governor Ferguson to declare anti-Semitism? I mean, I've got emails of you reaching out to the governor's PR lady. It doesn't look like she writes you back. Doesn't look like she forwards your emails for a response.
You know what? Joe, you just reminded me of something. Why don't you file a public disclosure request for my name and the governor's email accounts and see what you get? Oh, that's great. I can't wait to see what you find, Joe. I really can't. Appreciate the call. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the kind words. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, my friends, more of your calls, more of your texts, and it looks like Kamala Harris's book is on the way to breaking records. Is that because I bought it? just out of morbid curiosity. I'll give you all details when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just a reminder, if you want to see this beautiful face, but this receding hairline, check out our live stream over at Facebook, X, Rumble, and YouTube. Kamala Harris's book has apparently been doing gangbusters business because people like me have been buying the thing. In fact, if you're watching the live stream, you can see the book right here. It's got all these notes on it because I keep finding more and more insanity in this thing, and I'm only a third of the way through this thing. There's one section that I thought was particularly entertaining where Kamala Harris asked Greta Gerwig, the director of the Barbie movie, to help script some of her speeches. It seems like she just wanted to meet as many celebrities as possible. And this little excerpt here talks about her celebrity interactions, which brings us to the latest installment of Deep Thoughts with your Vice President, Kamala Harris. At 5:29 p.m., staff alerted me that the British songwriter Charlie XCX had posted, "Kamala is Brat." Brat was the title of her latest album and identified me with her brand. Edgy, imperfect, confident, and embracing. From then on, our rebranded Kamala HQ social media site was awash in her signature color, lime green, and posts supporting us used that color. I can't. She said that Gerwig helped her rehearse. And she said she did 27 drafts of her convention speech because she knew what was writing on it. She said that Gerwig was very serious about her job and she wanted me to stand there and emit animal noise. What? What are you talking about? What is going on with this book? Oh my God, it just gets worse and worse for this woman. Holy cow. She says that delegates at convention wore t-shirts saying Kamala is Brat. And I think most of the country went, yep, that's right. And not in a good way. Yeah, she's awful. She's terrible. So this is the direction you want to go in. I mean, there is so much awfulness in this book. It just makes you wonder. This thing is the burn book. I can't say that enough. She is mad at everybody in this thing. Literally.
Point of clarification, Ari. I'll let you finish. Let you finish. Beyonce had the best video ever, but I'll let you finish. Could you clarify what a burn book is? Because I don't think we like to put books in the fire here in America.
Of course not. So I thought I mentioned it yesterday, but to say it again, Mean Girls.
Yes, but today is today. Yesterday was yesterday.
That's why I didn't say it today. In the movie Mean Girls, we know that Regina George, who likes to say mean things about everybody in school, her and her buddies in the Plastics create this book called The Burn Book, where they say burns about people, and they write these mean things about people, and then the thing goes public, and that's part of the movie Mean Girls. That is literally what this thing is. Kamala Harris is a mean girl. She says mean things about people and then puts it in her little book. I got to say, this is something here, guys. There is so much bad in this thing. I don't even know where to begin. It's on the first page. On the first page. Here we go. This is her quotes on the first page before you even get into the book itself. The amount of energy necessary to refute BS, but she wrote the word, is an order of magnitude bigger than to produce it. That's the quote you put on the front page. She says, I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. I was born like this. Kendrick Lamar DNA. That's on the first page. That's on the first page. This thing is so bad. And then it gets into her and the Bidens. Oh, her and the Bidens. This is just terrible. Literally, she's telling the story about when she goes to the White House and Jill Biden asks if she's still loyal to Joe Biden. Are you kidding me? We used to joke on the show that the worst job was the White House food taster because Kamala was trying to kill the president. When she found out, she treats it like it's such a burden that he's dropping out. Are you kidding me? She was probably dancing through the hallways going, I get to run for president. It's probably like that scene in Veep in the bathroom between Julia Louis-Dreyfus and her weird aide, where they're all excited that she gets to be president. That's probably what this was, this revisionist history. No wonder Jill Biden was mad. Probably thought, oh, you're not loyal to us anymore. You just want your own thing. Was she ever loyal to them? Either way, this whole book, this thing is trash. And I'm not saying you should go out and buy this thing because it's awful. Get one from the library or get one from Goodwill a month from now. These things are just this thing is trash. Absolute trash. I don't think there's a single page in the first third of this book I have read which doesn't have a post-it on it in some kind, because there is so much insanity in this book. She's mad at Tim Walz. She's mad at Joe Biden. She's mad at Jill Biden. She's mad at, you name it, she is mad at them. Of course, she's mad at Donald Trump, but that pales into comparison to the mean things she says about Democrats. Guys, this thing's like a train wreck. You just can't look away from it. That's really what it is. And you just laugh as you read it. Even the title, 107 Days. Oh, if I had 108, she would have won the election? Is that what she's trying to imply? I think it is. Only good news to wrap up the show, like the fact that Kamala Harris isn't president of the United States. Your good news headlines, your good news giveaway, your chance to win a $50 Daniels Broiler gift card, plus so much more. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. It is time to feel good as we wrap up another amazing episode of the Ari Hoffman Show right here on Talk Radio 570 KVI. And before we get to our good news headlines, we had the people from the Make-A-Wish Foundation come in to say thank you for us raising all those miles for them this summer. And it was kind of fortuitous timing because today at the White House, President Trump had a whole bunch of kids in the Oval Office who were there about a deal he made with Big Pharma, with Pfizer specifically, about lowering the price for cancer drugs. And it's amazing how sometimes these things are coincidence, line up that way. But when our friends from the Make-A-Wish Foundation were in here, they were telling us about one specific story about a kid who really wanted to go to a Mariners game. And then Mike found the story over on King 5. Give a listen.
And a wish come true for a young ball player from Woodinville. 11-year-old Everett will take his first trip around the bases at T-Mobile Park this Saturday, right before Game 1. Everett's dream being made possible by a Make-A-Wish and the Mariners. We caught up with him and his dad during today's practice run.
I don't really know how long I've been dreaming about it, but I've been dreaming about it for a long time.
He's already gone through some really difficult treatments. Every single day is a challenge. So when you get opportunities to have any sort of moment of joy, it's really important. And to be able to do this today, to be able to do it again on Saturday, that's definitely joyous moments for our family, but especially for Everett. He loves baseball.
It's going to be great to see him on the field on Saturday. And as for Everett's advice for the M's in the postseason, take a listen.
They should win.
I like that part. I like that part. Wholesome content is wholesome. And the kids actually in the White House today, one of them had a really fun interaction with President Trump when they were discussing their illnesses that they had survived and thanking President Trump for bringing down drug costs.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I've had a brain tumor since I was 4 months. Now I'm off all medicines. I'm a cancer survivor. I've had a brain tumor since I was 4 months, and I'm doing great. I'm 15 now, and I'm going to 10.
And you're going to be a football player, offensive lineman.
Now, the kid he's saying this to is a little huskier, shall we say. It's a bigger-looking kid, and that was just a really sweet moment with all those kids in the White House today. You could tell who knows how to talk to kids. You can tell who doesn't know how to talk to kids. President Trump's got a lot of grandkids. He knows how to talk to kids. Meanwhile, some news that is not good news, by the way. Have you seen the prices on the playoff tickets in the secondary market for playoffs games for the Mariners? Holy cow! I'm looking at the upper deck. And when you can't even see the scoreboard. You know, out there in right field when you can't even see the scoreboard so you can't watch the hydroplane races or anything. $356. In fact, over in left field, $385, $397 for the upper deck in the outfield. It's absolutely insane. Let's look at what the lower level tickets are going for. And I posted this yesterday, so God only knows what they're up to now. I see for behind home plate, you're looking for $745 a seat. Wow. Just still cheaper to see a Mariners game than fly to a playoff game in New York when they were in the World Series, including the airfare, by the way. So this is nuts. Absolutely nuts. If you're going to the Mariners game, let us know. Give us a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Meanwhile, word of caution to everybody going to the Mariners this weekend. On Saturday and Sunday, you got some competition. Sounders are playing and the Seahawks are playing. I don't normally say take mass transit, but finding a parking spot is going to absolutely suck. So I highly recommend you actually take advantage of mass transit. Don't take Uber. Holy cow. Mike, the other day I was thinking of taking an Uber to the stadium just because my wife was going to come pick me up and we were going to go to a movie. It was $60 from my house to the studio. $60. I don't live that far away. It's crazy. Meanwhile, young Zach actually hung up a sign for the Mariners in our studio right there. He's got one of the seize the moment signs with the trident over there that they're giving out. So I can be a bandwagon fan through all this because I'm so mad at the Mets, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. So yes, go Mariners. Did the Yankees win already? I saw some I think the Yankees are winning right now in their wild card game, or they won already. I have to check the scores when we're done with the show today. Before I forget, your chance to win fantabulous prizes. Today, we are giving away a $50 Daniel's Broiler gift card. Daniel's Broiler has been a Seattle favorite since 1980. Features USDA prime steak and other specialties, including chicken and fresh seafood, as well as a selection of high-end spirits, wine, and cocktails. Daniel's Broiler is open now in Bellevue, downtown Seattle, Leshine, South Lake Union. With dine-in, takeout, and delivery, check out danielsbroiler.com to reserve a table, place your takeout, delivery order, and more. We're also giving away a copy of 7 Steps to a Successful Retirement by Brian Evans of Madrona Financial and CPAs, plus the Little Red Book of Retirement. Learn how to design your retirement to support your quality of life for 30-plus years from Brian Evans of Madrona Financial and CPAs, a local company working to help you grow deep financial roots that future financial storms don't blow your life savings away. Visit madronafinancial.com for more information and discover how you can create a rooted wealth plan today. All you have to do in order to win these fantabulous prizes is be caller number 10 at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Caller number 10 will win a $50 Daniel's Broiler gift card and a copy of 7 Steps to a Successful Retirement and a bonus of the Little Red Book of Retirement by Brian Evans of Madrona Financial and CPAs. Phone lines are open now. Give Mike a call for your chance to win at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. 5757. Well, my friends, that's going to do it for us today. But we'll be back tomorrow with more insane stories, more exciting guests, and, of course, more giveaways. You've been listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, and go Mariners.